Hey guys, hope you're doing well. I wanted to talk a bit more about how to do the shadow work, and we're gonna talk a bit more about anxiety. Now, shadow work is extremely important if you are doing any type of magic, but it's also extremely important just in general, although, it's not that well known, it's not that much practiced, but it is actually a psychology technique. So, first of all, excuse me, we all have a shadow. We all have a shadow. What is our shadow? Our shadow is that part of us that we don't like, the part of us that we are ashamed of, the part of us we ignore and we try to pretend we don't have. So, those are some characteristics that we have, some behaviors that we do. Sorry, again. Oh, I had a really long day at work today and talked a lot, so apologize. Okay, had some water. So, where was I? It's the part of you that you basically are ashamed of, a part of you that you kind of don't want to admit you have. That's what your shadow self is. And we all have it, every single one of us. So, first step is to actually accept your shadow part, admit that you have one, admit to yourself the existence of it, stop ignoring it, stop being ashamed of it. Write down, I tend to be, whatever it is. In some situations, I tend to react this way. In some situations, I tend to be shallow. In some situations, I tend to be mean. I tend to be passive aggressive, whatever it is. It can be anything really. I tend to be jealous. I tend to be competitive too much. I tend to be, you know, it can be, of course, things worse than this or less worse. Doesn't matter. Just write them down and admit them to yourself. Really think about, because when we think of us, often, especially when we are in low vibration, we always see each other, us, sorry, not each other, us, as victims, because we're in victim mentality and everything is happening to us and people are doing things to us and nothing is ever our fault and we refuse to take responsibility for our actions. And this is something we need to learn to do. So, write down everything. And if you had a horrible breakup, if you're trying to get your ex back, write down the mistakes that you have done and the mistakes the person has done as well. But stop viewing yourself as this huge victim. And I'm not saying that you should blame yourself, just accepting the responsibility, like in general in life, just accepting who you truly are, accepting your shadow self, accepting the aspects of you that are not, perfect, that are not that great, that are a bit, shady, whatever they are. It can be a variety of things. Now, this is a general audio again, so I can't really give you much other information. So that is important. And now, the second thing that's extremely important is working on your triggers and learning how to react in a healthy way. So basically, it's all about feeling safe and secure, but how you start that process is, and this is especially important for those people who have done some of the mistakes we talk about when they were triggered by the ex. So either like texting them all the time until they block them, or lying about something that they're ill or that they're pregnant or whatever, or just sending some messages to their family. That happens a lot. You wouldn't believe it, but it does. Anything, people who have reacted in such manners, basically. So, and it's important for others as well, who just, when they're triggered, they maybe get avoidant, or they maybe get anxious, or maybe they get passive aggressive. something happens inside of you, doesn't have to mean it's also a reaction, right? It doesn't have to mean that you're doing some stuff towards someone. So see what triggered you lately, especially when we are talking about the event that happened with the ex, right? What has triggered you? Like, think about it and then get into that feeling. How are you feeling when you were triggered? What emotion is behind this anxiety? Because there's always something behind. Anxiety is fear, but what is behind it? What feeling is behind it? Is it anger? Is it not feeling good enough? Is it just feeling, worthless? What is behind it? And then when you find the feeling behind it, whatever it is, then go back into your childhood and understand which wound this is. Is it the wound of being abandoned? Is it a wound of not being good enough? Is it wound of not being seen, not being chosen? Think about where all of this is coming from, because it's coming from somewhere way before you met this ex. And then when you find out what your wound is and what triggers you, basically, when somebody, for example, breaks up with you, you get triggered because you feel abandoned. And then your wound is opened again, and you have to get into the wound. So you have to heal the wound, basically, and you can't heal the wound. So this is not a positive thing, but what I need to tell you is that you can never heal your wound. I think I mentioned this before, but for those who haven't heard, you can never heal that wound, and you can never stop getting triggered, and you can never stop being anxious. But the thing is that there is something you can do. You can learn to react in a healthy way. You can start feeling more safe and secure. And everybody will be triggered by a breakup. It's normal. Every single person, nobody will be happy when somebody breaks up with them, and everybody will feel, a bit not good enough, a bit not chosen, a bit abandoned. It's what it is. Breakups are meant to do that. It's normal. So you can't heal the wound. What you can do is basically what we tend to do is when we're in victim mentality, we tend to only focus on the negative things, only on the negative things. So you're just focusing on every time you were not chosen, every time you were not good enough, every time somebody told you something that's not a compliment. All of those things, we only see the negative and we only focus on the negative because we're in low vibration. So these are just the thoughts and feelings and events that we kind of feel in line with, we resonate with. We do not see anything positively and we don't notice the positive stuff. So the first step is to actually start thinking about the positive stuff around your core wound. So for example, write down all the times when you actually did feel chosen, either by that ex, by previous exes, by friends, by family, by whoever, co-workers, bosses, when you applied to a job and you were actually chosen for that job. I'm sure every single one of you had that happen, right? When you applied for college and you were chosen there, you were chosen so many times in your life, and you still have this wound of not being chosen because something happened in your childhood, and now your brain is always thinking, I'm not chosen, and it only gets triggered when you're not chosen, and that's kind of the programming you are running inside your head. But the thing is that you have been chosen so many times, more times that you were not chosen. So every single ex you had chose you, right? They did choose you. They did choose you. They chose you to be their partner. It's a big thing. Every single friend you had chose you. Every single one, including the ones that are no longer friends. It doesn't matter, but they chose you at one point as their friend. So think about all of the things, all of the times that you were chosen, and write them down and kind of read them over and over again and remind yourself and reprogram your brain into being chosen, because you actually are chosen. It's not true that you're not. Okay? So do that, and remind yourself all the time, every day, how you are chosen, and give yourself examples when exactly you were chosen. Don't be just like, I'm chosen, affirming I'm chosen, because your brain will be like, oh, this doesn't make sense. No, you're not. Give yourself examples. Your brain can't say, no, you weren't, if you were. So there are so many times you were chosen. Just think about the events where you were chosen. Simple as that. Also, if you don't feel worthy or good enough, think of all the events when somebody actually paid you a compliment. All of the events, I'm sure it happened a million times, and you're only focusing on the stuff when you thought you were not good enough. So that's one of the steps to take. Also, listening to meditations, like I already told you, they're meant to put you into the vibration of being chosen, but you definitely need to actively work on it yourself, not just listen to a meditation, because it's important to, to do some work with your brain yourself. Basically, it's very, very important. Okay. So now let's talk about anxiety. So majority of you are at the moment experiencing anxiety, which is perfectly normal. Anxiety is actually a very common problem, and it's a normal part of being human. Okay, so it's the feeling of being, tense, of being worried. Um, I guess that's sort of a way to describe it. It also has some physical stuff. It's gonna depend on a person. So again, it's really hard for me to describe something in general, but usually, you're gonna feel that discomfort in your stomach, and you can have a panic attack. You can your heart can be beating fast. You may be sweating or breathing. You may have breathing issues, headache, issues with your bowel movements. All sorts of stuff can happen. It's gonna be very individual, but basically, what anxiety is, it's a very uncomfortable feeling of basically fear, of feeling fear. Anxiety is actually fear. Okay. And it affects our brain and our body. What's important to say is that anxiety can't hurt you health wise. So, although you can experience very uncomfortable things happening in your body, you can't have a heart attack from it or any of other things. So, at least that, right? So, it's a fear, and it's often a feeling of worry, of constant worry. And there is there is normal anxiety. Like I said, anxiety is normal. So it's normal, and it's actually a healthy reaction when it's normal, because everybody experiences anxiety in like a dangerous situation. But if it is, basically, when is it a problem is the question, right? So it's a problem when there is no real danger, or when it kind of when you feel anxiety long after a stressful situation is over. So basically, that would be, you are still anxious although your breakup was a while ago, or a breakup was like more than, I don't know, a month ago, and you're still anxious. So this is when it's a problem, and a lot of you guys have this issue. Okay, so this is of course not good. It affects your everyday life. In this case, you can't focus on work, you can't focus on school, you can't do anything, you can't go anywhere. You basically are only anxious, and that's it. You're just thinking about the ex, you're just thinking about the negative stuff, whatever you're thinking about, and you're feeling anxious. You can't eat, you can't sleep. A lot of people can't eat or sleep, but again, it's gonna depend. But in some form, it's gonna affect your everyday activity. And of course, this is gonna be individual again. So the stuff I'm describing is just general stuff. It's gonna depend on you. I have some notes, by the way. This is why I'm kind of reading them, and they're in my language, so I'm like translating them. So that's what this is about. Okay. So anxiety is a normal reaction. You can never ever erase anxiety from your life, but what you can do is to learn how to control it. And it's basically everything is about just learning how to control something and how to get the best of something. And these things can't disappear fully. Your wound will never disappear fully, anxiety will never disappear fully, but like from your life. I don't mean like around your ex, that should disappear fully. Okay. So what else did I want to say? Okay, let's talk about how to control anxiety, basically. So there are some methods you can take. One of them is learning how to relax, let go, maybe listen to some meditation, something very relaxing that will help. Of course, it will not help long term, unfortunately, because soon enough you're going to start feeling it again. You need to kind of stop thinking about the problem. So, start focusing on something else. This is why you're always instructed to focus on you, to focus on something great, to achieve something, focus on something you're really interested in. Don't just think about your problem, because if you're going to be doing that, you're just going to stay in victim mentality, your vibration will stay low, and that's really bad. I know it's hard to kind of take your mind off someone who has broken up with you and you want them back. It's extremely hard, and you will always partly think about them, absolutely, but you just need to make your best to kind of think about other things, focus on other things, don't let yourself go, and things like that. Also, if you're having some thoughts that are like really negative, you need to control them. So don't, like I always say, you were instructed about this already, but don't get into those thoughts, because what we tend to do is when we get a thought, oh, Ben is probably dating someone new, for example, and what we do is we go inside that thought. Oh yeah, he probably is, because I saw this and this on his Instagram. Oh yeah, he for sure is, because it's already been like, I don't know, 2 months since we broke up. Oh yeah, he probably is. I saw him on, I don't know, dating app. And then you start to analyze that thought, and then you make a whole scenario out of it. So just have a random thought, and then you make a whole scenario, because your brain wants to prove you right, and you just put yourself even lower. So when you get a thought, oh, Ben might be dating someone, just be like, yeah, maybe, so what? I mean, it's not so what, I know, but just let go of that thought and think about something else. Don't allow the thought, don't ignore it, because that's not healthy either. Be like, okay, that's a possibility, but I don't know. And I don't even want to know, because it would upset me. And then go about your day. Stop thinking about it, basically, because you can't stop thinking about it. You actually are in control of your brain. Your brain does not run on autopilot, although it seems like that in times like this, but it doesn't. You are in control of your brain. You are in control of your thoughts, and you are in control of your emotions. And right now you're not, because you're allowing this ex person to control your emotions, but they're your emotions and you control them. Okay. So that's basically a bit about anxiety. So anxiety is perfectly normal, but it tends to be a problem if it lasts too long. So for those of you who are still experiencing anxiety, although it's been like some time since the breakup, this is something you need to work on, because basically fear is trying to protect you. That's the purpose of fear. And that's the purpose of anxiety, to be activated when you're in danger. But you are not in a real danger now, are you? The event has passed. So I'm sure it was very uncomfortable when they broke up with you. It's not something that's pretty. And it's normal to feel anxious at the time. But it's not happening anymore. It happened and it's over. It's in the past. It's not happening all of this time when you're feeling anxious. Okay. Anyways, I just kind of wanted to go through some of these things. I hope it was helpful. I just had like an urge to. Anyways, I wish you a very beautiful weekend, guys. Bye.